Hey everyone, I am not sure if you can hear me. Here I am. And here are wonderful bells. Listen to this. I don't know if you can hear it. It's great to be here. But it's a really nice way to start the stream with you. You hear? Everybody has faith in different ways, whether it's religion or something else. There's something about hearing bells from a church that feels, I don't know, joyful and I don't know, brings good memories. At least for me, it makes me think of travel. Perhaps that's why. I am getting started on this now because I know that sometimes when I talk on this stream, you guys don't hear me right away. So I thought I'd just do a little bit of a chat while these bells are going. It's a nice way to start. So today we are here. I'm Ariel Andersson. We're talking about midlife pregnancy, and I said I'd be here for Ask Anything Q&A. That's a lot of fun for me because I get nervous sometimes gathering with people, but live with you here, I know that we've got you all over the world, and it's such an incredible opportunity for a conversation that is so different, one-on-one, or even in a group, in a room. And so I wanted an opportunity just to sit here with you and see what comes up. And I will bring in some things that some of you have mentioned along the way in questions so that I can keep the ball rolling and whatnot. So if you're here in the chat right now, I would just like to say welcome. And I just would love for you to put a 1 in the chat if you've been in one of our chats before, in one of our lives. And or you can stay in the background. That's good too. I'm all about that, being the introvert that I am. Today, I would also be so curious as to how you found this live, whether or not you willing to throw it into the live here, into the chat, and just let me know if it was Instagram or, hey, Yana, nice to see you. Yana's going to be here assisting if we need something, or reminding us of time and all kinds of other good things, and just bringing her great energy in here from Australia. Thank you so much, Yana. It means a lot. So how you found us? Was it YouTube that reminded you? Did you get an email recently? I'm just curious. Otherwise, can you let me know if you already have kids, or if this is the first time you are embarking on the path to and through midlife pregnancy? And when I say midlife pregnancy, 33, 43, 53, or anywhere in between, the truth is that at any time there can be struggles with pregnancy, regardless of your age, regardless of what might be going on in your body, in your life. And I feel quite passionate about I hate to use air quotes, don't fault me for this, I cannot, but it's possible versus it's not possible. And that's really the main reason I'm here on this channel with you, for you, is because you're going to hear from all over what isn't possible. And I will always be the one who comes back to moving through and beyond the stats, the bullying even that sometimes come from friends, family, doctors. I hate to say it, but this is the word that comes up. And this is something I'm super passionate about, whether it's kids or in your own circle of reality as an adult. There's something quite strong when people don't support what you're doing, and how deeply that affects your body, and how important boundaries are. And as we've talked about in the previous lives a bit, talking about how important it is to have your circle, your support system, and your boundaries, today I want to dive in a little bit with the question that I started in the email that I sent just a couple of days ago before the live, which is, what right now is easiest or hardest for you right now? Like, what's really coming through? What's up right now? If you're willing to put that in the chat, great. If you're watching this on a replay, or you just want to take it in and, soak in whatever happens today. That's fine too. What I encourage you to do is to keep a journal for these lives, for yourself during this period of time, whether you're already pregnant or you're on the way. Uh, it's so essential to just see the patterns of what comes up in your soul, for yourself, for your emotions, your life, and your spirit. And so this would be one of those moments. So I would encourage you to write down or just think for yourself for a moment, what's coming up. Like, what's the easiest thing for you? So, for example, for myself, when I was on this path and rolling along, it was quite easy for me to do the healthier things myself. I already was nearly a vegetarian. No, that's like, nearly being a virgin. No, but you know what I'm saying. And so being healthy and at least knowing what the healthy things were wasn't that difficult. Uh, the challenging things were the boundaries, the keeping the border. The things that were the hardest was keeping the borders around, or I'd say even like a safe haven, like creating your oasis for yourself and your partner or your family if you have kids from before, or kids. It's, what do you need? You, you specifically. What do you need? Because everyone in the family or in your circle, your ohana, many of these people are not going to have a problem asking you for what they've always asked for. More energy, more time, more support. But what is it that you need? And I think that's one of the top things that I really want to focus in on today, is about your need and what you're experiencing. Because sometimes if you're a giver or a healer in your community, or that person that people come to, there's this habit of you taking care of everyone else. And it doesn't mean you don't take care of yourself, but you may not be the highest priority, even when maybe from the outside it might look like, oh, she's taking care of herself, she knows what to do, right? So I ask you that question is, where do you get stuck, or who do you get stuck with? In our family, it was my husband, who has such great and deep love, also doesn't have a filter. So what that meant, as far as my biggest challenge, was that with our, as you've heard if you've been watching the videos, hey, lack of space. I'll tell you. Okay, so was boundaries around not telling me every single detail of the conversations that my husband Mats was having with his ex-wife or his kids, all the nice and nasty things that were coming up. It was just all coming through. And what I learned, unfortunately, it took 5 losses to get to the point where I realized that one of the things that was essential, of the many that I started to realize that were important, but we're going to stick with one for today, is that boundary to say, feel that I have permission to say, please don't tell me everything. In fact, he started going to therapy. That was, not everybody's path, but having somebody to talk to without a filter that wasn't me was really important. And that actually shifted things a lot, because it took that pressure and that stress away. Now, Yana, lack of space for myself comes up a lot now. Yes, exactly. Lack of space is such a huge thing. And it's not just physical space, though that can be the way it is when you have kids. And I know you have a son. It's that space for you, and the thing is that our partners and the people in our lives, like our kids, will push boundaries as far as they can. If you've ever been a boss of somebody, or maybe you have a brother or sister, or even a parent, who just at that moment when you feel I really need just 5 minutes to myself, will suddenly ask for a bunch of things to be done, or they need you desperately right now. And it's right at that moment that you're just about to take a bath, or read a book, or go on a coaching call, or go for a walk, whatever it might be, whatever your thing might be. And it's amazing how it happens. Am I right? Put a 1 in the chat if you know what I'm talking about, that it's just at that moment when you need it the most that this is popping up, right? And so one thing that I would encourage you to do is just really start with, knowing that, if, for example, if this is about whoever it is that's in front of you, I was going to say if this is about your partner, but whoever it is that's in front of you, isn't likely to necessarily change who they are. If we're talking about a partner, often they're not changing who they are as a person. Yet there is still, and the same thing with our kids half the time, is that they are who they are. They want what they want, but it's about us. It's about you. How you approach the permission to be able to say no sometimes, or to be able to really stand up for yourself the way you would do for me or for someone else if we were in your circle. Imagine that. Imagine that you have somebody in front of you really care about, and or a girlfriend or a boyfriend or brother, sister, whoever it might be. Like, think of that person who you would just fight for, right? And if they had somebody who, or a group, or they themselves weren't taking that space, something was encroaching on that space, what would you say to them, right? I mean, it sounds obvious, but thinking first with that. Oh, my cat's jumping up. Of course. Speaking of boundaries and space, imagine just for a moment that you can, without feeling bad, without breaking obligation, without someone challenging you, you could take that space. And what does it take to get to that space? Does that make sense? So coming from a really heart-centered place, let's use a partner as an example, because I'll give a perfect example from today that is just in line with this. So even when you communicate, sometimes, well, most times, the boundaries and the space will still be pushed upon. Today, I made the mistake of not reminding my husband that we were going to take a little rest before this live. My daughter is 5, so she still needs a nap. And if I cuddle her, she'll nap. So I also needed a little recharge. And so there we are. Imagine this. Eyes closed in bed, and I hear somebody walking up the stairs. Of course, it's my husband, my partner. And I think to myself, okay, now I'm waking up because I hear the creaking stairs. Oh, he's not going to walk in here and like wake us up, right? Because who does that? No, but he walked in, he was excited about something, and he thought we looked sweet, so he stood over us. You know what I'm talking about, right? That, like, when someone's looking at you and you wake up, or you feel it. And I thought, okay, well, he's just admiring how cute our daughter is, or whatever, myself, or whatever. And then he lays down to also rest. And then I feel this heat in front of my face. It was the weirdest thing. Just as I was relaxing again, and he had his phone in my face that he wanted me to read something. He didn't say anything, but I could feel it, right there. And I thought to myself, this is so bizarre, because this is such a rare moment of, I really wanted the space. And I found myself automatically starting to read what he was showing me. And then I was like, what are you doing? You just need this. And then I'm going to be pissed off that I allowed this to happen. But it was about me. It was about me saying no. So I said, why don't you screenshot that and show me later? I need this rest time. And strangely enough, it's such an obvious thing. But how many times do I kind of go along with it anyway? We want to be the nice one. It's unconscious, subconscious. You're used to being the one who rolls with things and smiles. And I know, Yana, when you're talking about lack of space, I know that you're such a kind soul. I've watched you. I've experienced your reality and all the goodness, and I know I can bet that you're very accommodating in such a beautiful way. So I encourage you, and anyone else who might be in the same mental space around this, to really speak to your partner, or whoever it is that isn't giving you the space. Really speak up for what you need. Say, if it's a time, then say at 3:00, I need this. Or if it's right in the moment, you can't be that planned out. Just letting them know, this is super important to me. If it's about something bigger, then coming into a focused space, finding a way, if you have a child or there's life going on, to find a really prime time to be able to speak together, and from the heart. From the heart, meaning, I really need this. This is important. This is why. And just maybe you even brainstorm in your journal, in your head, how you like to do it. I love Google Docs, because then I can come back to it anytime, anywhere, and I don't have to worry about where it is. And just get clarity for yourself. It's not like you're going to send them that, but sometimes I do. Sometimes I have a talk with my partner and then I send it to him because he's visual. So that's another piece, is how does your partner or whoever it is that might be pushing on your space, maybe it's you. How can you set yourself up to get the space that you need? What's one thing you can do differently this week to get that? So anything else coming up that you guys would like to ask questions about, as far as ask anything? What do you really need, if you want to talk about that? I know this is the thing about having an open space like this, because I so badly want to really dive in with you. And I know that if you're anything like me, in different moments, sometimes you really need more of a protected space. And I know this is a live stream, so I think I might do something for you around that. I don't know if we're gonna. What would be interesting for you? I would love in the comments, whether you're watching this in a replay or you're here right now. I've done retreats and meditations and live workshops, a lot of coaching. I'm looking at doing some group coaching because it moves things forward in such a beautiful way. And I think we'll do something bigger around really moving you through your midlife pregnancy. That will probably be in September. But I feel like meanwhile, I want to provide for you. I want to create something that's going to make sense, or use something that I have that makes sense for you, and put it out there. So I would love in the comments, if this is interesting for you, but please, just let me know what would really be the next thing that you'd like. I'm going to do something regardless, but I'm just curious. And if this is interesting for you, please do a thumbs up or like, so that other people can find this video along the way. How's it going out there? I had somebody ask me in the past about, how can I put it politically correct, how to work with their partner who had given up hope a bit. And I think when you have more than one, even just one loss, it can be really hard to re-engage with that. And curious if you would like to help others find. Yes, thank you. Ayana's just reminding in the chat about the liking, because that really is super helpful, because we want to keep this conversation going. So I lost my train of thought. Sorry, guys. So just coming back to what you really need. Sometimes your partner is also going to come in with what they need, which is not always going to be in alignment. And isn't it painful when you're doing your best to keep excited and hopeful and keep that possibility moving forward? Yes, it's possible. Lost their oomph about it because let down by another loss. But the thing is, and I know that we have somebody out there who is in this position, when you're pregnant. I have somebody right now in my circle who I'm so incredibly proud of, because she's pregnant. She's had losses. She is an incredible person. And like we're talking about here today, there's the challenge of personal space, personal path. I think this is the thing that comes up over and over again, where, you have losses because there's stress and uncertainty. And so within your own self, there's this push-pull with trust in your own body and in your own circle. And how do you manage that? It's sticking with that, practicing the boundaries, practicing creating space. It's about talking to your partner. It's about looking out for yourself and giving yourself permission to do that. So when I was getting pregnant, the last time, the sixth time, after 5 losses, some more painful than others, as I was approaching that 6th pregnancy, after the 5th one, was like, that's it. I'm not okay with losing this babies anymore. What am I doing wrong? Now, that's the worst path to go down, because you start to think about all the things you could have done wrong. But it was really about focusing on what you're doing right and where to put more energy. And that that was the beginning of the shift. And I know we've talked about that a little bit here, but I will come back to this moment because I said 20 to 30 minutes. If you have more questions, I will happily answer them, but I will otherwise leave you with a final question to think about for next week. I will pause for a moment just to see as the wind is blowing here. Follow the signs. That's all I want to say right now. I had a sign today before coming on here that my gardenia bush finally bloomed. I just realized I forgot to grab that before the live, but that's okay. So my question comes back to what we talked about at the beginning of this live. What do you really need? Is it more space? Is it people respecting your boundaries of those space? Is it about doing less? Is it about managing stress in a unique way? Is it about doing things differently? Is it about doing things the same? These are some of the key questions. And Yana's gonna, yes, thank you. Yana is putting in the free resource of the many reasons why. That's about loss and how to move through that. And I think we'll also put in the link for the 7 steps to midlife pregnancy. And they're just a handful of the steps to get you rolling. And we'll keep going deeper here. I will show up every few weeks. And when there's something to tell you about, I will put it in the description. Do a really short live, just popping in and saying what we're doing. I think maybe a workshop. Yeah, we already talked about that. We'll see what comes up and maybe what you have to say as well. Thank you, Yana, for putting those in. Trust in your own body, trust in yourself and your path. Don't let anyone tell you. Don't let anyone tell you that it's not possible. If you feel that you are meant to have a family, if you and your partner feel that you're meant to be a part of this family of light, creating goodness and supporting a little being who will become a big being to be a part of the sweetness of life that makes things better, that evolves things, whatever it is. It's not that your kid has to be, a superhero, but if they come from this intention of light and love and joy and purpose, and if you're doing that now, that is what you're going to be attracting into your body, into your pregnancy, and into your life. I'm Ariel Andersson, and I'm thankful and grateful to be on your path to midlife pregnancy. I'm going to sign off now. And I look forward to your comments, your questions, and I do answer things on YouTube. And if you dive into one of these free resources, we can also keep the conversation going. And yeah, see you next time.